Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. If you are a regular on my channel, I will tell you that this video is going to be a little bit more different in comparison to the videos that you're used to getting from me, in the sense that it's not going to be a legal analysis of any sort. I did come across this particular topic for this video on a channel called Live Abuse Free. It's run by an actual psychologist. I'm subscribed to her. I've been subscribed to her for a while, and she makes really great videos about public figures or notorious people such as Chris Watts, Micah Stauffer, and she's also delved in the Johnny Depp Amber Heard abuse topics. So she's analyzed the phone recordings and all that. I will link her channel down below in the description box. She's a much bigger YouTuber than I am, but I'm sure there are some of you out there who haven't come across her yet. So if you haven't, then check out her channel if you're more interested in psychological topics and psychological analysis. The video she made on the topic that I'm going to be talking about today is a little bit dated, so it's nothing new that she's released on her channel, but I have only recently come across it. In that video, she refers to an interview that Johnny gave the Rolling Stones back in June of 2018. Amongst other things, he discusses his relationship with his late mother, who passed away in May of 2016. I came across this article through her video, so I had no idea about it before that. I learned things about Johnny and his mother that I had no idea about, and I figured some of my viewers who love Johnny and like to watch the videos that I put out about his case would be interested in knowing about this if you didn't know about it already, because I found it really interesting. So I always heard and read that Johnny simply adored his mother, and he was really broken up about her passing, which is normal and natural, of course. The idea I had was that their relationship was healthy and beautiful and close, and he would do anything for her. And he did truly feel that way. He felt like he couldn't do enough for her, and he wanted to give her the world. And I'm not saying that it wasn't loving and close, but it's the healthy part that I am starting to question based on what Johnny himself said in this interview. I will be linking the entire article down below if you're interested in reading it, but I will only be reading out relevant excerpts regarding his mother in this video. So Johnny claims that his mom hurled things, but she was still his mom. Yeah, there were irrational beatings, says Depp. Maybe it's an ashtray coming your way. Maybe you're gonna get clunked with the phone. It was a ghost house. No one talked. I don't think there ever was a way I thought about people, especially women, other than I can fix them. Mostly, Depp remembers his mother coming home from double shifts at her waitressing job. He would rub her feet as she counted out the coins from her tips. He bought her a small horse farm outside of Lexington, Kentucky, with one of his first big paydays. Betty Sue, I worshipped her, says Depp, but his smile quickly fades. She could be a real bitch on wheels. He tells me what he said at her 2016 funeral. My mom was maybe the meanest human being I have ever met in my life. I was really taken aback by this revelation of Johnny's mother, may she rest in peace, being abusive. It's not easy, and it's not common for a child to say at their parent's funeral that their parent, now deceased, was the meanest person they knew. And I always envisioned Johnny's mother as this loving, sweet old lady, because that's what I had seen when I saw photos of him with her. And he says he worshipped her. And this is what Live Abuse Free delves into. She talks about whether this could be the reason why Johnny allowed Amber to treat him the way that she treated him. She says that sometimes humans seek people who remind them of their parents when it comes to finding romantic partners, and I think also to some extent the friends and the people you decide to associate with. I've always heard that people can react to abuse in two ways, especially when it's childhood abuse committed by your parents. You can either grow up to be completely repelled by that personality and by that behavior, so you seek out people, or you're attracted subconsciously to people who are the opposite of that parent. And then there are people, and I've heard this ever since I was a little girl, who are oddly attracted to people who remind them of their abusive parent or their traumatic childhood. And then some people even take it a step further and emulate that behavior. Now, of course, Johnny doesn't fall in that category because he wasn't the one who was physically and emotionally abusive. But there are people who have grown up in an abusive home and then they grow up to become abusers themselves because that is what's normal to them. That's what they've been around. And that's what they interpreted as love in an odd way, or acceptable in a loving relationship. So Live Abuse Free goes on to talk about this safety and familiarity that Johnny subconsciously felt with Amber because she reminded him of his life with his mother when he was a child. His mom threw things at him, phones, ashtrays, and he still worshipped her. Part of me wonders whether his brain was wired to view that as love or as an expression of love. So in his mind, I do wonder whether he thought Amber loves me and that's why she's behaving this way, because my mother loved me, but she treated me in a very similar way. And this is all subconscious. Now, again, do watch Live Abuse Free's videos because she's a qualified psychologist, but she does talk about how this is running in the background of your mind. It's not something that you're consciously aware of. It's not like we're walking around going, that person throws things at me just like my mom did, so I'm gonna, commit to them. It's something that's driving you that you're not aware of necessarily. And it really, really suddenly made some things make more sense to me, because I've always wondered, especially in recent times when I started to post on YouTube and make videos about Johnny and Amber's ongoing case, I've always wondered why he accepted that from her. And to me, it was, well, maybe she was just, in his eyes, a prize, someone significantly younger, someone who was very beautiful. I mean, beauty is subjective. It's in the eye of the beholder. She's played with her face now, but back when she was with Johnny, even I, as a straight woman, will say that she was very beautiful and very striking in a natural way before she altered her features. It's not the first time. It's not unheard of to hear of an older man who puts up with a difficult younger woman simply because she's a prize. But with this article came a revelation of what if he worshipped Amber because he worshipped his mother. If you've read his text messages with Amber's parents after the split happened, he does talk about how he worshipped her and how he would have done anything for her and he loved her more than life itself. And it was such a profound love. It touched me as I was reading those text messages. I felt for him to have loved someone so deeply only to be abused by them. I wonder whether these two attributes had to coexist, the worshipping and the abuse. Suddenly there's that missing piece that could potentially answer why he was so drawn to her and why he held on to her even after she had started to become abusive towards him. It's difficult for me to wrap my head around because I'm not a psychologist. The severed finger incident, I think, would have sent a lot of people packing and just not look back. Johnny stayed and continued to love her and continued to worship her even after that incredibly violent episode. One thing that Live Abuse Free didn't touch on at all in her video, and I really wish she did, is the fact that none of the women that Johnny was in a relationship with prior to Amber fit that criteria of being abusive in nature. He married a makeup artist in the late 80s who introduced him to Nicolas Cage, and that seemed to be a very smooth sailing relationship. He was with Winona Ryder, he was with Kate Moss, he was then with Vanessa Paradis for years, for 14 years, I believe. And none of these women have been abusive towards him. So why suddenly become drawn to someone who reminded you of your mother later in life? It's just really strange to me that there isn't a pattern, because usually what I have read and heard is that people do grow up to have some kind of a particular person that they're drawn to. Not necessarily always the same person over and over again. Like, they can have varying physical characteristics or varying personality traits, but usually if someone is drawn to someone who reminds them of their parent, then they would tend to be drawn to that personality throughout their adult life. So yeah, there is that kind of a gap that I really wish Live Abuse Free would have addressed. I have read, I think in messages he sent her parents, I'm not too sure, maybe even in the phone call that was recorded between them, he does really allude to the fact that Amber was the love of his life and no one else could compare. Maybe that answers it, you know, maybe she was the one for him because she reminded him on a subconscious level of his mother. So yeah, I just thought I'd share this with you guys because it really honestly blew me away, and it did answer a lot of questions that have been circling in my mind ever since I immersed myself into this case a couple of months ago. I am very interested in hearing what you guys have to say about this. Did you know about Johnny's turbulent relationship with his mother and her allegedly, well, according to him, really abusive nature? Or is it news to you like it was to me? And does it answer a few questions for you? Does it answer why Johnny was so drawn to Amber and why he loved her so passionately, even after the way she treated him? And also, I really am interested in knowing whether you are the kind of person who is repelled by someone who reminds you of someone who abused you, or are you actually drawn to people? Do you find yourself dating or repeatedly becoming involved with people who treat you, or mistreat you rather, in a way that is similar to how you were mistreated by a family member when you were growing up? So yeah, do let me know what you guys think. I know that this was a different video, but this is more of a discussion on a human level rather than, you know, an objective kind of removed, detached legal explanation of things or analysis of things. My next video on this topic will most likely be the analysis or prediction of Johnny's defamation case. I say prediction, I don't like the word, but I don't think there is a substitute word for it, because what we will essentially be doing is looking at Johnny's case and whether he meets all of the elements of defamation and the likelihood of his success. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you for sticking around. Thank you for subscribing and watching my videos. It means so much to me. Stay safe, and I will catch you in a future video.